What does one say today about this 100-year war conflict between France and England? Or when one's standing on the field of Crécy, or one standing on the fields of Agincourt, or maybe even Poitiers, or in any other place in northern England or in France. We really don't know. All we know is back then that was a world war of its time. So I'm trying to portray what I feel is a 15mm representation of these great armies and their families. But this is really looking at the English and the English soldier. And I think that a lot of people maybe overlook the impact that the English soldier had, those warriors, both the noblemen and the commonmen who collectively represented the military revolution of the 14th century England, how they had on society and the culture of late medieval Europe as a whole. So it's really important to remember that this titanic conflict was not merely a fight between England and France, but involved almost every major power in Western Europe in some fashion or the next, constituting what could probably accurately be called the Great War of its time. Networks of alliances, proxy battlefields are really interwoven, I think, throughout the story of the war, even during the times when both kingdoms were technically under ceasefire terms. So this army that England had, they were the military rock stars of their day. They, one that every realm either wanted in their service or wanted their own forces to be like. Ironically, even the ceasefire of Bretigny presented many of these very soldiers the imminent prospect of unemployment, a prospect to which many of these responded by offering their invaluable services to the highest bidder, creating mercenary free companies that ran throughout all of Europe, one of the most famous being the Hawkwood and the White Company. These soldiers were sought after. They fought everywhere. And they had an immense allegiance to their prince and to their king and to England. They never fought each other, these free companies. But this army here in particular, I built for Crécy. And it might not be entirely historically correct with family emblems or crests, but I think that it portrays the English army as it was, both in the early times and all the way to the end of the 100 Years' War. It can be used for both, but as I'm reading more and more about this particular conflict and these soldiers and how fierce they actually were and how they banded together, I'm quite impressed. So ultimately, the other states of Europe, they could not replicate the unique characteristics of the medieval English military revolution and the reputation of the English soldier. Really, it did not survive past the 15th century, kind of being eclipsed by the ultimate defeat of France. But I think that their war-fighting methods were impressive. And I'm hoping that by showing you this video that you'll celebrate who they were and look at how this was painted and built and maybe cause a discussion that I can actually use to change it or modify it in some way. I enjoyed painting it, I enjoyed creating it, and I hope that you also enjoy it. And I'm not a master painter, I paint relatively quickly, so any input from you would be good. Now let's get on to the video itself. Well, I can tell you this is pretty exciting. I've been wanting to do this show for quite a while, but I think that the person that really pushed me to do these is somebody that I don't even know. It's Nick, another YouTuber that is the medieval wargamer. He puts up YouTubes on medieval subjects and his armies. He's been an incredible inspiration for me. Nick, I don't even know you, would like to know you, but I really appreciate you pushing me to do this project. Anyway, this one is really for you. So let's get down here and let's see what I've got. And hope that Nick doesn't criticize me too much. He knows more about medieval things than I actually do. But I had a lot of fun nonetheless. So what do we have here? We have an English 100-year war army in 15 millimeter. It's, well, I have to say it, I always do. It's one of my favorite. Anyway, it's been a couple years in the making, but I made a huge push this last couple of months. Probably more the last 3 weeks than I have. So now this army is really well put together, but of course I learned a lot from Nick. And yeah, well, let's see, what do we have here? Well, just as an overview, I've got 2 groups of mounted knights. And I know the English didn't like fighting mounted, but I had them nonetheless. So let's take a look at those first. So I have one contingent of knights here. Just various heraldry, different families, backed up by men-at-arms, 4 bases. So for me, that's either 4 units or 2 units, depending on what I'm playing. We've got, of course, the different commanders that are out here. I think this is Northampton at Creasy. But anyway, that's the first group of knights. I'll try to get in a little bit closer. They are Essex, Merlington, and maybe some older ones, and some Corvus Belli. So those are kind of the older knights that I had. All of the new knights will come with the French army when I put it up. So over here is some Hobilars, various different manufacturers, and these are Corvus Belli for the most part. And yeah, I think they look pretty nice. The Corvus Belli, the old metal ones, they look really quite nice. So let's skip on over here to the other side. All right, so here are the other group of knights. Also old Corvus Belli, some Merlington, some Essex, various older manufacturers, 2 ranks of heavy knights, and 1 rank of, or 1 unit or 2 units of men-at-arms. And then, of course, on this side, mounted longbowmen. So I think those are Corvus Belli, if I'm not mistaken. And anyway, so 2 groups of mounted knights. Yeah, I think that's nice. So let's go to the commanders. So we've got Edward III here. And these are Donington new miniatures with 1 Essex, and of course I put a dead mounted knight on the ground. But I think that the Donington look pretty good. There's a few figures that they have and artillery pieces that really are pretty sharp, and I really like them. So let's go to Edward of Woodstock, the Black Prince. That was a little bit of an artistic license. I know most people paint him, but I wanted it red and blue and this thing. I went more for a yellow with his banner and his banner guard. I don't know why. I just wanted him different than his father, I guess. And Edward said, I am your father. Okay, that's a bad joke. Anyway, there's these are knights from Blue Moon, and this is the Earl of Northampton, who played a significant role at Crecy on the right flank. This is, I can't remember my families, so please forgive me. This is a family. Yeah, well, this one I know. This is a famous knight. They said it was the knight of all knights. This is Henry Hotspur. See, I remembered that one. So, and then this one, of course, is the other famous knight. Anyway, never mind. So anyway, that's the mounted and the commanders. Let's take a look at the foot troops and what do we have here for this army. Well, first we'll start with the spearmen. So I've got 4 units of Corvus belly spear, and I really like these figures. Really look great put together. They have some halberd in there, some spear. So I guess you'd call it, these are the polearm units. I've got 2 blocks of Corvus belly, each one with its own standard and kind of color scheme. So I'm very, I don't know, I kind of like that. It looks impressive on the field. And of course I've got 2 more blocks of, or 4 more blocks of halberdiers. So these are polearm units. These are all done by Merlington. And they've, in mass like this and put together with some other manufacturers, I think they look nice. I tried to do units and mix units with the same kind of color scheme. Don't know why, but I just thought that looked good. So there's 1. Here's 2. And this is a mixture of Peter Pig, which I think really have some nice figures. And if they mix in really nice with Essex and with Merlington. You can't really tell. And there's a couple of old Glory or Blue Moon figures in there, just a couple to show variations. And then here's another section. These are all polearm, spear, halberdiers, billmen, actually quite a few. So I guess all in all, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks of halberdiers. So the next we'll come over here. These are the foot knights, and I have them in blocks of 4. These are mostly Peter Pig. There's some Essex, a lot of Blue Moon, and Curacao units mixed in here. So this is a real mixture of all kinds of different figures from different companies. Corvus belly is in there. You'll see from here you've got quite a few Blue Moon and Curacao figures, and some Peter Pig. Now, Peter Pig figures are mostly, I put those in the French dismounted knights, and kept the Curacao and the Blue Moon figures for the English. But I think that they turned out extremely well. I'm very proud of them, very pleased at how they turned out. And I've got bombards, 6 of them. Can be used really for any army. And yeah, these are the there's the Duke of Arundel. He was also very famous at Crecy. I think he actually helped the Duke of Northumberland or Northam for the flanks. Anyway, I get my names. There's so many of them. I get them wrong, but I tried to be accurate on my painting, and I think it turned out nice. Then we have on each flank, we've got some contingent of kerns and some light troops harassing. To be honest, I don't even know what figures these are. They've got one turned around here a different way, but I don't know who makes them. I think maybe they could be museum, but I'm not sure. So let's go over here to the longbow. I've got quite a few longbow units. I've kind of bounded them differently on 40 by 40, so I can do small units or larger units. And each one is done a little bit in the theme of that group. And I put them with stakes. I just think that it just looks really, really great. These are different. These are Essex and some Merlington, I believe. Also extremely nice, and yeah, I think they turned out pretty decent, to be honest. So I just kind of continue down the line, so you can kind of see the different units and what they might look like. So there's my green contingency, or contingent. I always say contingency, right? Contingent. And there's the blues. Some more kerns. And then, of course, black and red. And another unit of longbow here. So anyway, that's the army. I think it turned out to be very, very nice. But of course, we can't forget the baggage. I love baggage, and I've got a lot of different baggage units. I got about 6 more to paint up. Really very, very unique pieces of, them stealing and taking things and all that they need for foraging in their chevauchée. So lots of different kinds of wagons, and I think wagons are always kind of fun and bring a little bit of life to the table. So I took license putting in boxes and made my own bags and wood planks and treasure chests and lots of fun things. And then, of course, we come to the camp. Lady with a goose, some sheep, and a priest praying over a knight going off to battle. Anyway, this is my rendition of an English army. And I hope that you liked it. I had a lot of fun building it, and I'm very proud of it. And assembling it and putting it all together. Thank you for watching.